Welcome back. I am standing with Player of the Week, FlyQuest mid laner, PowerOfEvil. Congratulations on winning the trophy. Go ahead and open it up. Okay. Oh my gosh.
Well, honestly, I did not remember what my pose was, but I'm happy it was not the arms crossed only. I like it. I think it's great.
Yeah, you're in a fighting pose. You can show the camera. It looks like you're ready to take on some teams in the LCS right now, fighting for that spot. But what was super cute that I saw on social media this week was that when you found out you were Player of the Week, your entire team surprised you with the party. So tell me about that.
Well, I didn't know that they're gonna make such a big deal out of it. I was just like in scrims, and then randomly like the whole FlyQuest staff is coming in, all the players, the academy team too. I'm like, oh, what's going on? Suddenly everyone is just like shooting confetti at me, and like they brought balloons. And I was like, wow, I was really grateful. I was really happy.
It's nice to have that team morale and spirit and support for you. Today you are going to be playing against Dignitas and mid laner Froggen, so want to pick your brain on thoughts going into that match.
Well, Froggen already got Player of the Week too, so it's gonna be a hype match. Just this week in general, both teams are really strong, or are really strong. So I'm curious how it ends up.
I'm going to go take both of your figures and just make them fight off camera. Yeah, but best of luck with your game today. That's it for us here. And if you guys want a statue of the Player of the Week, all you have to do is open up Twitter and tweet at MasterCardNexus. But again, that's it for us here. Back to you guys.
Congratulations again to PowerOfEvil on that award. Hello and welcome back to the State Farm Analyst Desk as we prepare for Dignitas versus FlyQuest. People on this desk have called Dignitas a very hot or cold team, but sometimes it's hard to visualize that. Thankfully, Mark is going to walk us through a Dignitas turret dive that perfectly illustrates this. Mark, take it away.
Thank you very much, Dash. We'll start out with this 4v1 turret dive that they try to do versus Team Liquid. And all things considered, this is the right idea. I know people say, don't try and dive a Sett. He's really hard to dive. If it's 4v1 and you have a bunch of early game champions, you should be able to do it. They use a bunch of cooldowns to force him back to the turret. Honestly, that's fine. Where things start going wrong is the turret shots. They take one first, then Grig takes one randomly, then Aphro takes one, and his is the most egregious because, as you can see, he has baited Johnsun into beginning to auto-attack right as he stops to leave the turret. He could just stand there and tank 3 turret shots, press E, tank 2 or 3 more, and this dive would be successful. But because he drops turret aggro, it's going to go onto Johnsun. So, turret aggro goes on to Johnsun. You see, he starts panicking, whiffs his ult, Q misses, random E, random Q, missed skill shots, Grig's under turret. Where should I EQ to? Back under turret, not back onto the guy. Now I have to burn stopwatch. Sett's now stealing, and here comes Broxa to turn the dive. This is probably the worst turret dive I've seen this year. I give it a 1. Actually, that's not quite bad enough. Let me just scratch on a little. It's a -1. That is the cold Dignitas that we have seen time and time again. But they also have moments where they're super, super hot, such as their game versus Immortals, where they were actually able to snowball really aggressively by holding down Smithy, the best player on that team. That is not that. This is what we want to see.
There it is. So taking a look at one of those hot moments here for Dignitas. Again, this is what they're aiming for in all of these moments. But to me, Crumbs, this points to cleanliness. Mark called it out at the top of that first replay. Right idea, wrong execution. Yeah. That dive should have worked.
And it's great cleanliness, too, because I was needing something to cleanse my eyes after that play.
I mean, here you go.
Yeah. So Dignitas seems to be a team that when they get a lead early, like 10, 15 minutes in, they're going to win the game. Usually, if they get a lead, they will win, and that's it. And if they get behind, they will also lose, and that's not something you want to see out of a team that's trying to make a playoff run. You have to show a little bit more resilience, that you can bounce back from an early deficit into a comeback win.
I think what speaks to that is their record and who they've won against, right?
Yes.
Most of or all of their losses coming against the top teams above them. And so, again, when looking to challenge for a playoff picture, those are the teams we're going to eventually see them overcome.
Yeah, and I think when you see these stats, in wins, they pretty much control the entire game. And when they lose, it's pretty much lights out the entire time. They never have a lead because they are that hot and cold team. They're the ones often forcing the plays, and when they work, it's one of those good days and the plays keep rolling and they snowball the game, or it goes terribly wrong and they never get a chance to get a lead.
They've had a gold lead at 15 in all 5 of their wins as compared to these poor early game stats that you're seeing just now in their losses. Let's go ahead and contrast this, though, against FlyQuest, because we're going to have to see if they're going to be hot in this game today. FlyQuest fresh off a loss, but it's to Cloud9. Who hasn't lost to Cloud9? And WildTurtle specifically seemed to have a pretty good mindset around the loss yesterday when we had him on the desk.
Yeah, and this is going to be the two biggest carries I think that FlyQuest has now. It's PoE and IgNar being able to pull the trigger instantly on a fight and just hard carry. This is why PoE was rated as the #2 mid laner by both Mark and I. The ability to hard carry games in tandem with the utility that IgNar is bringing makes this team crazy explosive. It's what they were lacking before. It's what WildTurtle wanted. More decisiveness. We need to get into the fight. Who would have thought that WildTurtle wants to keep fighting?
Yeah, I mean, IgNar's brought the decisiveness in the engages, PoE has brought the carry potential, and even he has added in a new wrinkle with some of the Rumble and Diana games we've seen.
But let me ask you this. Is this the game where you want to see more decisiveness out of FlyQuest? Or does that not play directly into the hands of Dignitas, who wants, well, maybe they don't want a coin toss, but it seems to be where they thrive, is kind of in those flippy moments. Would you prefer a slower, more consistent FlyQuest to deal with a Dignitas in today's game?
So I don't want to change what FlyQuest is doing. I like what I'm seeing out of them. What I want to see out of Dig is not such a strong index in the early game that just means that you fall and die, like the Pantheon. Going for the Pantheon pick just means that if you don't get a lead early, you're probably going to be useless, and it's really tough to play around that when you have players like Froggen that don't want to play that early, that want to play a little bit of a more controlled game, and just having that identity be achieved in every single lane will make it easier for them to get a lead early and then win.
Yeah, and I think it can also come down to not just champion picks, but in-game, because Santorin and IgNar can play some early game champions and be great, like Blitzcranks and Leonas and these kinds of things. So you can still pick those and be ready for Dignitas to make their aggressive invades and their aggressive dives and be ready to counter those out. It can still be early game picks, but you're looking more to be reactive than proactive.
Wow, 38.5% damage share there out of PowerOfEvil. That's just crazy with 75% kill participation. Fantastic numbers for a mid laner. So much of Dignitas, the conversation around Dignitas has been that top trio, Huni, Grig, Froggen. Is the expectation that that is the way that Dignitas is most successful and needs to keep learning how to find the consistency on that side of the map?
No, I'm going to say no. I think Dignitas' best look was when they built an entire composition that was really relevant to the meta, whether it's the Soraka protect the Olaf, or it's giving Froggen a last counter pick to make sure that he has agency in the game.
He even played the Ornn too before.
Yeah, or the Ornn as well. Just having a well-suited composition, I think, is the better look that I like out of Dignitas versus putting all of the eggs in the top lane basket and then just having a bottom lane that's like a Braum Ezreal that's just trying to play safe.
Now, remind me again, both of you did predict FlyQuest to come out in this victory, right? So what do you see as being the determining factor in the victory today?
I think, like you said, it's hot and cold Dignitas, but if anything other...
Because what if it's hot Dignitas
If it's hot Dignitas, we could be wrong, because I do think this is still a close matchup. But if it's medium warm, lukewarm, cold Dignitas, I think FlyQuest takes it, which means that more of the scenarios are in their favor.
Yeah, so the question is, how recently did Dignitas come off the burner?
Well, I'm thinking about the last time these two teams have met, and FlyQuest was not coming into it as a favorite. I felt like Dignitas was really coming off hot. They were on that 3-game win streak, and then they lose brutally to FlyQuest, a very decisive team comp. I think that was when PoE was playing Rumble and they had the Jarvan hardcore engage.
It was the Echo.
Exactly correct. Yeah, a 9-0-5 performance on Rumble in that game. This was all the way back in week 2, so it's important to note that there's been 4 weeks separating those two games. It's clearly meant to be an exciting game with a hot and cold Dignitas against our #2 in FlyQuest. Teams jumping into Champ Select, so it's our cue to hand it off to Riv and Jat.
Thank you very much, Dash. We are serving them up hot today, and there is no other way to receive the LCS other than watching here. So there you go.
Oh, all right.
You're in there.
Yeah, we're really quick into picks and bans as well. You can see a lot of power picks taken away. Healing banned, even though Soraka has been nerfed, but there's always that threat that Huni would be willing to play something like that in the top lane, and happy to see Ornn gone. Very interested, though, about the fact that Sett wasn't first picked, and then we get to see that Aphelios Senna trade for the first time in a while. Senna's actually been banned every game of the LCS this week, so this is going to be WildTurtle playing it, but it's going to be the Senna that doesn't take CS early on because you're trying to generate more souls. So I'll explain this in detail once we get into the game, but just so you know, that's probably what's going to happen.
So Aphelios picked up there for Johnsun. A lot of priority there for him. He has had good plays on it, but getting the bot lane comfortable seems to be in the mind of Dignitas. At 5-5 versus FlyQuest 7-4 here on the record books, as we are waiting for a final first phase pick here from Dignitas. Safe bottom lane as well.
Yeah.
With a bit of power from that Tahm Kench, and also a Jarvan roaming around the jungle for Grig.
Yeah, very early jungle lock for this patch. Most teams kind of let it go through to phase 2 of the draft and instead try and power pick a soul laner in one of these early spots, like something that could go up against Sett. But Grig has shown some of his best games on Jarvan. That was the hot side of Dignitas that Mark talked about on the desk, not the cold, bad turret diving side.
No more than that. That's a big pickup for bot lane for sure. Initiation there. Don't have to think about too much with the press on R.
Yeah, so to be Senna Nautilus, and I think Nautilus is actually really good for a bot lane CSer. It's not quite as much peel as we've had in others, like Senna Tahm Kench matchups. There's been I've seen actually Senna Sett, although that possibility is gone now since the Nautilus will basically only go support unless they really decide to do a bunch of flex picks and put the Nautilus mid. I'm just generally excited about Senna stuff because it's new, but...
Saw Galio a few times in Academy and people that...
Seen Ornn, that's
Galio. Yeah. Ornn bot was always fun, because especially when you get a few items, you can just headbutt them when they're under their turret, but just so you take maybe one shot or even get the tether right so you don't.
There was actually a Senna, there was a Senna volley bear in the LCK that worked really well. It was against a Yuumi lane, so the Yuumi couldn't do anything to the volley bear.
Pretty cool stuff. I like it. Especially when you're thrown off by the passive and something early. That'll just turn the lane around. Orianna, a mid lane ban, possibly 2 mid lane bans there in the final 2 with Pantheon as well. So we see a lot of focus over towards Froggen here with the initial bans from FlyQuest. And Dignitas says what? Maybe the jungle? Did they hit up Santorin? No, they hit the mid lane. So that Syndra's left open. No, it's not. So it's Zoe and Syndra from Dignitas.
Yeah. Tons of mid lane bans towards PoE and Froggen. PoE's actually shown a good amount of versatility so far, as that's likely the Gragas jungle, and they're saving their mid lane pick for last. But the Pantheon ban is actually the most interesting to me by FlyQuest, because that was Huni's pick into a set that didn't work. It actually fell flat on its face against Liquid, but clearly it's something they'd practiced, and I would actually kind of wager that it might even be something that FlyQuest played against. So they're saying, actually, no, we know Huni can take over games with that pick. Do it.
Ooh, the Ziggs locked in. Yusui played Ziggs in the Academy League yesterday. We saw a pretty powerful play from him. Maybe a victor for PowerOfEvil here in the mid lane. We'll have to see. They still have one more pick for Dignitas on their side, and that will be their top laner.
Yeah, Ziggs has actually seen a little bit of play over in the LCK as well, so it's starting to make its way back into the meta with all the mid lane bans and the fact that Froggen's traditionally so good at skill shot champions.
Yeah.
I think it's actually kind of a perfect pick in this situation. And getting Mordekaiser Ziggs rounds out like a big time team fighting comp for Dignitas.
Remember when Aphelios was getting played a lot? I think Def played it against Aiming. He played Ziggs against the Aphelios on the bot side. So I was like, where's Ziggs coming from? Now he's back into the mid lane. So yeah, you're right. He has been getting a bit of play time.
If they flex this Nautilus mid and did something else.
Yeah.
I would be,
There's that Galio.
I'd be very excited, but it's just the Qiyana and the Ziggs.
Wow, so he is going to go aggressive on this team. I like it. He's going to try to dive into the grasps of a Tahm Kench, a Mordekaiser, be quicker than Dignitas can on this Qiyana, and we'll see if PoE can pull it out. Going down the list, I do not see a Qiyana play in there for him. He has had the Diana.
Yeah.
So he likes to get in there and tussle a bit. We know PoE and his builds. I'm excited for this one. But 5-5 dig, as I said, between the 7-4 FlyQuest as they try to move up the rankings in the second half of the split.
Fun bit of history with PowerOfEvil's Qiyana
History me.
is when the champ was released, even though it was Demonte who got all the cred for picking it up first,
For sure.
PowerOfEvil was actually the first person drawing Qiyana bans. Because he was playing it in scrims, actually making people ban it, and then only after Demonte had played it a bunch did PoE play it against Demonte in the third place match.
You're like, oh my God.
People were like, oh yeah, PowerOfEvil trying to deny that Qiyana from Demonte. And it's like, it was true, it was a denial pick, but PoE and COG was like, wait a minute, we were doing it first, we just never got to show it. So it is a champ, even though it's not traditionally PoE's like late game farming style.
Right.
It's a champ he put a lot of time into right when it came out.
And Froggen, again, on something fun. It seems like he always is able to just spread that champion pool a little bit more, and you never know what he's going to bring out in the mid lane. And I think it offers a lot of versatility to the team. You have Huni in the top, Froggen in the mid. There's so much you can do with that. I'm excited to see what these teams have for each other on the Rift. The crowd is ready here in the LCS studio as we are about to get into game for game number 2 of the day. We had a quick one for game number 1. Let's see if these teams can keep pace and get to the Nexus first.
All right, looking at the items early on, I can confirm that WildTurtle, I know this has happened in other leagues, but I'm going to show you anyway. Whoops. WildTurtle has the Spectral Sickle, which is the support item, and there's no support item on IgNar. So the reason you do this, for those of you who are unaware, is the soul drop chance on Senna was increased to 25% from minions you don't last hit. So basically all the people that were doing Marksman Senna had really low soul chances. And actually, once you do the math, there's about 54 gold worth of value per soul. So it's actually better, like actually more powerful just for Senna, not even taking into account the other person, for ranged minions to just let them die into the ether because you're getting more expected value from your souls. And we have a sideline report that we're going to talk about right now, and then I'll get into more Senna stuff.
Absolutely. Let's throw it down to the Tigress.
Thanks, guys. Do have a sideline by my side. I just wanted to get your thoughts on how the Ziggs pick is going to capitalize upon what Froggen has to offer.
Yeah, so Froggen is traditionally really good at control mages, and I think Ziggs is really good in this meta right now just because if you ever get that Herald swap timing and you get Herald, you're able to just break a tower from 5 plates completely. We had really good results with it in scrims as well, just getting 15 plates, moving around the map as quickly as possible. His ulti is also really good for catching side lane waves when the team is trying to react, so we feel really confident about this pick.
And considering that Huni and Froggen are both major win conditions, how do you feel about how this can also work with Mordekaiser on the board?
Yeah, so Mord, I don't think they have enough damage to kill Mord if he gets ahead, so I'm pretty confident about that pick. And we have Aphelios as that late game insurance as well. That 200 years of experience really coming in clutch for us. So.
I would also like to say that I tried to get you to dance with me for a moment, but that's going to be my goal for next time. For now, let's head back to the Rift.
Awesome stuff. We'll see quite a bit of dancing between the teams this game, so we should get our fill. And interesting thing is to hear them reveal about the Ziggs pick, that it's, I feel it's so dominating, going to control the game, but I guess they have to get to that part first.
Yeah, you have to be able to get some other early game pressure to get Ziggs to those turrets, but absolutely the turret destruction on plates is an amazing synergy that I'd be looking forward to taking advantage of.
15 plates. You're going to need something to put those plates in. That's a lot. We don't see that too often, especially the current meta. And we will see. You were talking about WildTurtle and not farming earlier. My comment was just going to be basically that's where every marksman would love to be. Just not having to hit the cannon minion or any minion.
Just got to harass, and then you get to play AD carry later. Nautilus is actually really good for it because since he's CSing, his passive applies so much extra damage that last hitting is very easy for him. Not taking that cannon, though, because it would be too dangerous. Nice snipe of the soul by WildTurtle there. But yeah, the bigger portion is, since Senna doesn't necessarily get much more gold from CSing versus not CSing, thanks to the value of souls, the next logical jump is let's put someone down there who will CS instead, and then we get 2 powerful hits. So we're going to have a much more powerful tanky support Nautilus and a farmed Senna by the end of the game. That's the logic.
And right now, they're just going toe-to-toe. 3v3 on the bot side. PowerOfEvil is going to make it a little lopsided, but they have IgNar soloed out. He goes down to a Gravitum lockdown on Johnson's Q. He's out of mana, though, so got to be careful as they push the wave with Infernum. They should be able to get out of this one, and what a quick fight towards the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, really awkward, where there was basically a mid lane scuttle fight going on that eventually leaked all the way down to the bottom lane, and that made IgNar and WildTurtle like, we're supposed to be supporting our bottom lane, but we don't have enough tempo, so IgNar just ends up dying.
Summoner spells used as well on the side of FlyQuest as they kind of just fought for this minion wave.
Yeah, so at this point, like normally FlyQuest would quit the trade, but Santorin's asking for help, and FlyQuest say, okay, we can help you. Meanwhile, the mid lane isn't the first to roam either, so IgNar is actually just completely trapped out.
Aphro was just baiting out the gray health, taking a lot of damage early there. Really well played all around, making sure they did not lose a member. Santorin able to get himself back in and pick something up toward the top side so the team can keep vision. And Huni is 25 to 30 here. All things considered, it's just pretty even. not too much to worry about in that lane.
Mordekaiser v Sett is a difficult matchup for the Mordekaiser, but it is playable. So you often do see Mordekaiser picked in a Sett. It's just going to be rough. You're trying to wait until level 6, and even then, a lot of times Sett can outduel you in the Death Realm, so Huni does have to play this one cautious.
Just hope he uses a cooldown erroneously.
Yeah.
Then you're in there to win it, as long as you can hit your grasp. So looking at Infernum and Gravitum for your Aphelios here, and a 2v1 as aphromoo goes ward clearing. He'll probably hit that Scryer's Bloom, so he's able to now see what he's dealing with. So pretty much even in CS, if you look at the bot, you are going to have to trade IgNars and WildTurtles. Keep adding those together. Don't just think WildTurtle's falling behind.
Yep.
It's easy to consider.
Yep, adding up. You're basically saying Nautilus is the marksman in terms of CS, even though in terms of the way the game actually plays out, it is still WildTurtle. It's just his support ends up having higher support.
This seems like a fun lane, though. Back and literally just playing the waves back and forth. At least he gets it to the turret. So Viper can be rest assured here that this one will bounce off for him. He's doing pretty good at getting himself into a position where he could take this lane over, but I think Huni has enough to pick up and bring that, like I said, 2 even. Froggen with the satchel back as he gets a bit of aggression from PowerOfEvil. Ziggs knows you can't just take that fight 1v1 right out in the early game as Grig going for Drake, and they're going to be able to pick up a cloud for themselves as we see Mountain going to be on the rift. They could try to get to Grig on the back line, but instantly Froggen gets gobbled up. Could that be the save that keeps him alive? What a play. PowerOfEvil over the wall now to try to kill Grig. The blast cone puts him to his death, though, and now they're trying to get on Viper. He gets shoved out, so Haymaker doesn't hit, but it's going to be a big scuffle in the Dragon Pit right now, and that is so far the 2-for-1 in favor of FlyQuest as they start to come back here. 6.5 minutes in, a double kill coming in for IgNar on the bot side for the tanky Nautilus.
The triple from Nautilus at the end.
Keep it coming.
Yeah, unreal type of fight right there. It looked so harmless at the start. Oh yeah, Grig is just going to take this Drake, and then he's going to be out of there. But once more people started roaming over, it meant it's not just Grig who needs to die or get out of the pit for this one. It's the whole team. And fighting Qiyana in the river with the ultimate is usually just so lethal early on in the game. What was fascinating about this fight, and I can't wait to see it again, is the Qiyana ultimate actually didn't do that much.
That gobble up was so good.
Yeah, I think it was Viper's Sett ultimate that ended up doing most of the work here right before the Mordekaiser was able to ult him out. So yeah, like Grig can't be involved in this fight, so he's basically not there. And then Froggen is also basically out of the fight and his ult hits no one. So at that point, it is a 3v5, essentially, once everyone arrives, and Viper damages everyone with his ultimate before being taken into the Death Realm, and that kind of allows a level 4 Nautilus and a level 4 Senna to free hit, and it just so happens that the Nautilus takes the kills. And here's one for you. He's going AP Nautilus Rip. He's going Proto Belt,
he has the
like
blade,
the mid lane Nautiluses do.
The revolver, I love it.
Oh, man. I've been wondering when people would start doing this. So, confession, I was doing this Senna X Nautilus don't farm thing since release. Like, I've been all about this farm share / kind of support Senna with a melee bot laner. I've always thought it was really good. And I did play a lot of Senna Nautilus. I would do like Iceborne Gauntlet Nautilus and stuff for tankiness, but I kept thinking in the back of my head, like, so, like...
And this is like for years. I'm letting everybody know, this is for years. Jat plays this stuff bot lane all the time.
I've done double melee and weird bot lane stuff all the time, but Senna actually, this was the first one where I said, wait a minute, this could actually be completely optimal. But then I kind of remembered back to Worlds where you got Doonby playing mid lane Nautilus, and when I was playing Nautilus, I said, hey, maybe I should go Proto Belt. I just never had the confidence to think I could play mid AP Nautilus.
That's because you didn't get a triple kill at Dragon.
Because it's so punishing. That's also true.
Yeah.
But we'll see how this ends up working out for IgNar, because he will be still relatively low level throughout the game. Also, quick note, I recorded a podcast with the Senna champion designer, August, for JLXP, and that's going to be coming out Tuesday, which is timely. So we talk about this stuff with Senna and like the soul mechanisms and all the thoughts behind it for like an hour.
The feast or famine.
So I don't need to spend all of that time in this cast. We can focus on other things. It's just something I'm really excited.
I mean, I just asked for a coffee. You could if you want.
Yeah. You just
I was getting ready.
Sip your coffee, and I'll be like, so Senna with Black Cleaver is actually pretty good.
So 1,000 gold lead as we kind of dive back into what's going down onto the Rift. Huni and Viper not making it happen, but Afro's getting into another fight here. Bot side, will they continue to dive? Ask will take him down, in the Infernum ultimate will not be enough to take down Turtle in the spread fire. PowerOfEvil here to start to answer once again, and yeah, picking up quite a few souls on that one. We'll keep track of where he's at.
Yeah, actually at 30 souls already, 10 minutes in.
That's
It's a pretty good clip. The best I've seen was when Sven did this last week with the same style Senna. They did Senna Tahm Kench.
Okay.
He got about 100 by 20 minutes. We'll see once the lane phase breaks open
ramp up.
how much he follows his jungler around, because you get a lot of souls from camps. But a gank mid.
Another fight mid lane, supreme display of talent onto Froggen. No follow-up though. That's a death realm fight, I believe. Huni's trying to just stay out of this one as you see PowerOfEvil's in there. And now they get themselves to safety. It's FlyQuest on their own side. Looks like they will just safely retreat with Santorin very low.
Yeah, Dig definitely in a hole, and this 15-plate strat is currently at a count of 1 because they have been unable to get
Gotta come hungry.
pushing lanes, right? Like, they haven't been able to get any ganks or chunks on a PoE, so they can't even get Ziggs to take the first turret, let alone move around the map to get more plays.
And the bot lane discrepancy in farm is definitely starting to take off a little bit here with how much things are getting pushed around and used in these fights. You can add some of the kill money in there. We'll see how this happens one more time.
Yep.
Just a little bit of ward clearing. Sometimes safe, sometimes not.
Nautilus does a bunch of damage early, and then just finishing him off with the Gragas cast at the end. Nicely executed there by FlyQuest.
Swinging.
He's got the Conqueror up.
It actually sounds good. Oh my word.
Yeah, it's hard to fight Sett.
But that's
Really
the thing.
hard
You
to
can
fight Sett.
almost have dove him there, but you're just like, I'll take the lane advantage without dying to a turret
Yeah.
shot if Grig is here. It's like the advantage he has is pretty absurd right now. 0-0 and 3, and like you said, that phage, you just keep the speed up with the punches, and you're always in there to fight.
Viper probably could have solo killed him there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then
If
it would have
you
been
really want to go
questionable.
aggro.
Would have been questionable about whether or not he trades it back.
That's one of the things you never expected. Is something that long range from what would be the marksman bot lane. Senna always catching you off guard with that.
Souls.
Double souls, yeah. Why not? You're gonna get 2 for free. I always go up as a Thresh player. Like, give me those things. That's AP and armor for a Thresh, that is. 5-1 now as they are able to pick one up on the side of Dig. Bot lane getting pushed here. Pressure from Santorin is in the jungle, so it does allow FlyQuest, WildTurtle, and IgNar to feel safe in their positioning. Go ahead and start to move around and get wards down together. Power in numbers for them.
You'll also notice that WildTurtle is taking a few CS. I think that's correct because there are certain things you can't get from souls that you need to get from the item shop, like CDR or lethality, which is why he is getting a little bit of CS as they continue to pressure Froggen mid lane.
There's the proto belt for IgNar. Now we're waiting for the flash belt hook. We gotta see it come in.
Wow. There's also a chance that FlyQuest is going to go with 2 Umbral Blades this game, which will make the map just black for Dignitas. The amount of ward clearing power you get of Umbral Blade is incredible.
That's true. You see the serrated Dirk over there for WildTurtle, and it's already on PowerOfEvil. It becomes pretty hard as a support when you know everybody running around is able to clear your wards.
Yeah.
It feels so bad. So they could just black out Dignitas' map quite soon here, as Viper freely clears his top side. 119-95 in that matchup, and it's going to be a Leandri's first for Huni. Looking towards bot side. PowerOfEvil could blast Cone over the wall. He's got the freeze from the river down on his Chakram, and they're not going to go for that fight. They just back out.
A little bit of restraint. They did get the flash from Johnsun. Had to be a little bit respectful. The fact that teleports are up from the top laners as well, so they don't want to throw away this lead since things are going relatively well for FlyQuest.
See, there was a flash used pretty recently from IgNar on that bot side, trying to get a little activation in if they did have a fight for who was roaming down. So still have that with belt if they want to move forward as much as it works. And you're right, there's another glaive picked up by Turtle on a nice bat. Detrimental to the vision game. Watching Grig farm out his jungle here. Still has a stopwatch for himself. 1 for Froggen, 1 for aphromoo. Some plays to be made there, but still looking for IgNars and Santorins if they get into a fight from both teams. Things are all quiet right now, waiting for 2.5 on that Ocean. It is the one that changes the Rift, so each team would love to fight for that as Rift Herald is still up, but this is going to be Rift Herald number 1 and only.
Yeah, no super plates to come down from the Rift Herald whatsoever. Might be a game coming in mid.
Oh, very big damage to Froggen. He's kind of stayed still.
Okay.
Inferno Bomb on, traded over to PowerOfEvil, but it's not going to be follow-up enough from Grig. They could bounce him back if he gets next to the wall with the cast, but it's looking to be the body slam cast. Santorin just misses to the side as there's a flash from Grig.
Yeah, that was one of those situations where Santorin was trying to ER since you can flash out of the E-stun before the R hits, but since he flashed early, he ended up just throwing both spells into nothing. Still a big play for FlyQuest.
Leandri's making a difference in that bot lane matchup for Viper. We saw him turn away from Huni there, but he was kind of under 2 turrets. His mid's gonna go down. Turtle just standing there, knowing he can heal himself. Just keep being the caster marksman that he is. And stay and farm. FlyQuest feeling comfortable with the power they have right now and starting to push that forward.
Yeah, turning into a really rough game for Dig. FlyQuest trying to bounce back from that C9 defeat yesterday, and they did end up going with the double Umbral Blade. So just like looking at the minimap, look at how few wards Dig have been able to keep up. And when PoE does walk, 1 hit, 2 hit, bye to the control ward. Same with PoE, he can auto queue them if he so chooses. They clear wards so easily.
Quick grass escape as they'll take Rift Herald #1 of the game. Where do they go with this? It's actually been that plate denial game from FlyQuest here onto what was the Ziggs composition and what I guess would have been roaming around once Dig got that first advantage. Froggen's out of his lane a little bit more, and even having Inferno Bomb to be able to throw lane to lane when you have an advantage is huge. Remember days all the way back to Link on CLG when he would play Ziggs over and over.
Yeah,
Pepperidge Farm
throwback pick.
remembers.
We don't have Prawley here today. He was the Ziggs man
That's
as well.
true.
Back in 2013. But the thing that Ziggs always had was the ability to stall out games with wave clear. It got diminished greatly with the reworks to the Baron buff throughout the years, which gave many Baron minions large amounts of MR, so it becomes harder to stall games. But that's still going to be what Dig try and do with this Ziggs pick, is just stall. We heard the coach talking at the start of the game where they think, hey, if Mordekaiser gets some items, we don't think they're going to have that much damage for him. Ziggs is going to be able to have a lot of effectiveness. And now they're thinking about diving Sett. Always a challenge.
Flag and drag out of the Cataclysm. They're trying to fight under the turret now, and he goes into the Death Realm as WildTurtle's trying to fight on the other side. PowerOfEvil stealing grass so he can keep himself invisible if he does want to engage. I think they're allowing Dignitas to make another move on this one. Viper saved by shield, but he's going to go down eventually, and Dig with that many people there just could not be fought against from FlyQuest.
Yeah, I mean, 5 people up there for 45 seconds, and they still haven't taken the turret. Meanwhile, that rift down bottom with IgNar is going to take 2.
AP Nautilus is just the cavalry on the bottom side of the map for FlyQuest right now. They know PowerOfEvil's basically still there. Doesn't have too many places to go other than the spot.
Well, they want to defend this turret.
Could push him against the wall. It's only going to be 1, and they could take down Huni. He's gobbled up by aphromoo, and then they're going to throw back the mace as they look for a bit more damage. Huni is playing with fire as they try to get both of the members of FlyQuest in for the fight, taking turret shots every which way, but not coming up with a kill.
FlyQuest did a very good job of trading their own health for their turret damage. There has been so much time invested here by Dignitas trying to get this turret, and they're actually not going to get it. As FlyQuest valiantly defend, it cost them 1 death and a bunch of health bars from PoE and WildTurtle, but for the cost of that, they actually got an Ocean Drake and 2 turrets bought.
Here it is again.
Yeah, this is the original dive on Viper, where he's just tanking as much as he can, and then just gets ulted by Mordekaiser, and as soon as that happens, he's like, let me take Mord into the turret, because I know he can't 1v1 me under the turret. When he pops out, he's really just kind of sad, because
midget wave.
yeah, and PoE had decided not to fight a 3v5, which is probably the correct choice.
Right.
And this is wild, Riv. After the reset, it actually looks like FlyQuest will also get the top turret. So that's a 3 turret for 0 engagement by FlyQuest. Very well done.
Wow. Really turning what Dignitas was made to do with this comp on their head, and that becomes hard, right? Because when it sounds like you're going to take 15 plates and do all that, there isn't really a plan B to it with the comeback. You're talking a little bit about wave clearing before. You know, Froggen remembers his CLG EU days, DreamHack with Anivia in 50-plus minute games, trying to defend bot lane before they came back, but it's a little different. Like you said with Baron, it's not going to be as much, but they still have a few shock and awe ultimates. Infernum onto Mega Inferno Bomb. We'll see. FlyQuest has been kind of just skirting all of that damage as they get themselves into these fights. Viper pushing the bot side. They're up to inhibitor turret already before 20 minutes into the game, and that really pulls Dignitas into places that teleport has to be up if they're going to keep someone down there, really.
Yeah, and a soul update for WildTurtle. He's at 60.
Good update.
That's actually pretty low for this strategy. I saw a few moments where there was a red buff that he saw die and he didn't pick up that soul. He's left a few sitting around on the ground as well, so definitely not optimizing the souls as of yet, but still a good strat, I think.
I love, we just had the money up. I love looking at it with 7,700 up on IgNar, and that's just about matching mid, over top, 3-1-1.
Two solo turrets.
Now has Azanya's.
Well, all that happened as well.
That's a big boy right there. He is not afraid to step to the front of the fight. And also be the initiation. Azanya's all the time. Why not? Santorin clearing things out with his Predator as he moves through the jungle. And everybody is even moving pretty far away from each other here. FlyQuest is feeling very free in their movement. As we see Grig bot side with Huni, and Dignitas kind of has to keep together if they are roaming through. Still on that point of not having too much vision, we see how fast FlyQuest is making Dignitas replace vision, and it's always closer to their base each time.
Yeah, it's tough for Dig. Every fight they've done has kind of backfired on them. Nice sidestep by Johnsun. Would maybe get nearly one hit by a Nautilus combo at this point.
I mean, you look at the vision scores on both sides, or just look at the supreme display of talent. If you blink, you missed it. They are now on to the mid or top side turret. That's going to be the second tier as they lose Grig. This could be an objective fight, but then you're leaving a few AoE abilities up to take FlyQuest down. Dignitas may want to tempt that.
Kind of happy for PoE getting to flex his Qiyana a little bit.
Yeah.
Having put so much time into it back in the day. 223 CS on Qiyana. Champion who is not actually that good at CSing, especially early on in the laning phase, but PoE coming off that Player of the Week performance where he averaged over 11 CS per minute with his Corki and the Orianna games. Still having over 10 CS per minute on Qiyana. Such a great year for PoE so far.
He has his 8th unique pick as well for the season. So as much as I was saying Froggen is kind of that versatility, has such a vast champion pool, you get that out of PowerOfEvil as well. And the play style to boot. It's going to be Ocean that we see changing the Rift. As we said, both teams would want to go for that, but FlyQuest has full control right now. It would really be a go for broke moment if Dig were able to get themselves out. No vision out there yet. Nothing to really fight for. But a few core items coming up now that could change the tide of a fight at least, or give them a second chance.
Yeah, you can see FlyQuest fairly smoothly moving up towards Ocean Soul once they kill this. It'll be 5 minutes till the next Drake, which will make the earliest Ocean Soul around 28 minutes.
Yep.
Because they do have Senna, not high sustained damage, Baron takes are difficult for FlyQuest. So generally, you're looking at Ocean Soul as your win condition, and they want him. Good flash.
Flashed it out. Doesn't get anybody in base either, as supreme display of talent does. And really, FlyQuest is kind of just looking for fights right now. They're so happy to. They say, we get a fight, we take this turret down. We don't really have a wave in mid, but they're pushed up all the way to the second tier turret as they make their way around.
The long flank.
And sweepers on top of the glaives as well. Oh my word.
Look out.
They're just being rude toward Dignitas' vision right now. Grig's going to try to come up and make this a 3v4. Don't know if it's going to happen. Aphelios now with the grab to come out. He does have Severum as well to try to get that overheal and a little bit of movement. Oh, down! A kill coming in onto Grig. Fight still over towards the tri-bush as Johnsun is going to keep himself alive, and they drop Viper towards the top side. Now everybody's piled into the same spot. PowerOfEvil's kind of stuck towards Johnsun. Severum's on as he chases and Calibrum in the back pocket. Fire over the wall. That's the follow-up damage from Calibrum. And now Crescendum is out as he starts to stack the Spectral Chukrums. Who wants to fight the Aphelios now? And they start to push FlyQuest out of the tri-brush area and back onto their own side of the map. Dignitas comes up with the fight they needed.
It was such a big fight for them, mainly because they were able to split up FlyQuest so well. FlyQuest all came through a small corridor, and there kept being big Ziggs AoE spells used in that spot. So that's actually exactly the fight that Dignitas will have wanted as they try and scale up that Mordekaiser towards a little bit more tankiness and get those Ziggs and Aphelios items to come online.
Let's see this again. What a scattered fight. Played well by Dig here.
So basically, when the TP comes in, so much time is bought by aphromoo to consume, and then sure, Viper ultimates the Aphelios, but he's got the Healy gun, so he's unable to win the 1v1. Meanwhile, Huni buys a bunch of time in ultimate, and Santorin has to immediately stopwatch the Ziggs ult, so it's like, at this point, like, Johnsun's back to full health because of Severum, and he can just kind of flash in for these finishes.
Man, that Calibrum tag as well over the shoulder of his teammates. Yeah, some of that stuff looks pretty damn cool. He's got a smile on his face. 2-1 and 2 now. He finishes up the Infinity Edge. A little more crit behind that as well with the cloak, and he is feeling great on that pick. Things get turned around a bit, but that does not mean FlyQuest is out of the fight. They are still very much in and ahead in this game by 4,000 gold, as Dignitas just gets a bit of breathing room and they're able to push out of their base here.
Yeah, and Turtle's still only at 68 souls. He doesn't have the incredibly long Senna range.
Definitely slowed down.
Viper, no flash. He's probably dead.
One lick, make it quick. A little follow-up damage from that showstopper. That wasn't even from the top rope, though. It was the bottom rope. That's why
really interesting here, Riv. Normally when you send 3 people down bot, you lose Baron. But against a Senna Qiyana team, you don't. They don't have the damage to kill it quickly. Dig making a comeback here.
Pushing towards mid. They don't have a shoulder ward towards their top side. This could be a big initiation. A grab by Froggen. Huni just makes it out of that. And Dignitas will stay safe. There's the damage we were looking for from Ziggs, though, with the satchel on a low turret. Goes down.
And I circled the 3 dying souls. Turtle's been pushed off a lot of Senna souls, which is also basically the way he farms. So the sustained damage, or a big bit of their damage, is WildTurtle, who's just not getting the souls he needs to become super powerful by this point of the game, which is making this game very close.
Down, see if he find any jungle camps or more CS for himself. He's just playing the ward clearing game now, at least getting a bit more vision score. Always helps, little gold. So he backs a little bit of a reset for both teams as we have 1 minute on that Ocean Soul coming through. And really nothing else for Dignitas to have to think about after they push those waves. A really great job for them to be able to be outside their base here. The vision's pushed forward though from FlyQuest, so they're gonna see Dig coming.
Yeah, from the looks of it, we're gonna have all major ultimates up.
Yep.
And also Johnson's gonna have his flash on Aphelios, which is gonna be really big as he's on very nearly his biggest power spike. He will have that once he concludes Hurricane. So a little bit of mid priority coming in from Dig as well. They're gonna wanna just maybe even force a fight on this trade.
So it looks like Johnsun will have full Gravitum for this fight, and he's going to wait on that Infernum so he can use this ultimate. He may not spread it out just yet. That's the big one he wants to use in his Moonlight Vigil.
All right, so PoE and Viper want to flank, but Dig is just trying to get mid priority with 5 people.
Almost had WildTurtle on the flag and drag. You can see how resilient FlyQuest is to that engage, being able to back off quick, having a bit of movement speed, and takes on the front line.
Yeah.
2 flanks coming around. Viper and PowerOfEvil from the river. Huni has a lot to think about. Turtle goes quite low as Grig is on him immediately. Jungle to the marksman, not a great thing. It could be Johnsun going down. He does get a face breaker that pulls him in and drops him to the mat. Huni is now with PowerOfEvil as Turtle and Grig are going 1v1. How is aphromoo still alive in this 3v1? They finally bench the Frog, and it is going to be Grig getting chased out of this as well. He thought he could take Turtle down, but that power does come out a little bit if you're soloing the Senna.
Riv, that was the oddest fight because FlyQuest was trying to flank basically the whole time, yet it was the other 3 who killed Johnsun. It wasn't the Qiyana or the Sett flank that did the majority of the damage. I'll have to catch the start of that again to see. I think it was just Santorin's AP Gragas and the AP Nautilus that did so much burst on Johnsun to catch him off guard. Now they can turn for Baron and actually go for the soul maybe afterwards. Dig is just going to try and rush this soul denial, actually.
Oh, PowerOfEvil just behind. He's trailing. Okay, so he sees him on the ward. Grig's just going to
get
say
it.
whatever. He should just go over the wall. Don't fight the Qiyana. You don't want to be 2 HP when you're in that dragon pit. So this is a good steal. They should be able to make it up. But wait, Viper's here. Viper just teleported in. He's going to be able to start the fight with Johnsun. Severum gives him the movement speed. Facebreaker brings him in. Oh, my word. And they're going to be able to get that kill very quick coming in from Qiyana and Sett. onto Johnsun's Aphelios. And this means it's going to be one Dignitas member of the Crick without a paddle. That's Grig. He's trying to paddle as much as he can, but he goes down to Santorin. And 2 Dignitas members fall immediately after a big fight where they just lost as well.
Yep, big death timers coming in on the side of Dignitas as well, where the Baron minion wave is already pushed up for FlyQuest. This is a window for them to try and take some big advantages.
There's that wave clear we were talking about. Although slow, they put the power and numbers down there so Viper doesn't feel like he can get anything off that turret. Huni just trying to trail. You can see how hard it is once the Baron up minions are just pounding those turrets. PowerOfEvil takes down topside. FlyQuest now in control of the map once again. A little bit of a stutter step there, where they did find Dignitas overthrowing them.
It looked like Dig was mounting a comeback until they lose that fight in the mid lane because Johnsun gets bursted by the support jungle AP combo. And now they're in danger of losing all of their inhibitor turrets.
Huni taking some shots. Wow, it's happening so quick too. They really can't, they don't have time to think about which one to go to or what fight to take. They're gonna get healed up a little bit on the bot side by Turtle, as well as take damage from that. Santorin can separate the fight. And you have PowerOfEvil on the top side, even low on mana. Nobody wants to take that full fight with him, and they do drop another inhibitor. Dignitas has to choose when to go. They just weather the storm. Looks like FlyQuest is going to let them live for now. They do back out without too many minion waves crashing in on each side. It does get a little hectic when you don't have your full wave. So FlyQuest will take a breather. They'll be back 3 minutes onto Ocean Drake, so we still have a lot of time for that.
Silver lining is that the Ocean Soul still hasn't gone over to FlyQuest. I think that'll be the nail in the coffin, but PowerOfEvil still in a spot where he can one-shot anyone he catches at the right angle. It's difficult, though. You got like a stopwatch Aphelios, a Gargoyle
Yeah,
Stone
he
Plate
just got
Kench.
that right. Such a surplus.
Yeah. Another Stone Plate on Jarvan. Like, it is going to be difficult for PoE to find a good engage, but really this is likely going to be Dig trying to defend this third inhibitor while we're waiting 2.5 minutes for the next Ocean Drake. And if Dig tries to fight in defense of this third inhibitor, the game could end. Woo! That was close.
That was super close. I almost thought we were going to see IgNar go all the way to the fountain. Johnsun would love to use that power we were just talking about, but Huni gets zeroed out as soon as he steps off that the base gate. And that was pretty scary.
Yeah, you gotta question why he was out there.
Yep.
Here's the final inhibitor coming to be pushed by FlyQuest. This makes the defensive inhibitor spree nearly impossible.
Still have it clear from Johnsun.
Yeah.
Feels good towards the bot, but it's going to be coming in on every
Senna
wave
kill.
now.
Smack that in here.
It's like you're grabbing from the little stones off of it. All right. FlyQuest now has one priority in mind, and that's 2 Nexus turrets. Good grab off, depth charge, and that is going to get fizzled out. You can see it on cooldown for IgNar. Flash for WildTurtle, as he actually did not want to go down to 10%. Probably wouldn't have died right away, but they do use the summoners to back off. Dignitas live to fight another day, but can they get anything on the way out? Start pressuring their vision up, moving up a little bit. Not even a ward stands outside of their base due to the builds and the inventory of FlyQuest.
Yeah. Everyone on Dig thinks there's been a reset.
Oh, now it does. Dang it.
There hasn't been a reset.
Grig! Oh, no. That's going to be Grig possibly going down. Infernomolt coming through. Grig gets the flag and drag as he almost gets blasted back by a Cax there. Keeps himself alive. He's actually backing, which you can run faster to the base than you can back for 8 seconds if you're in the base at that time. And they are going to be taking shots. Turtle misses out on the ultimate, but they are just going to back off and have 30 seconds on this Ocean.
I like the idea there by FlyQuest. Again, you got to keep calling out the massive vision denial from having 2 Info Blades on this team, making Dig kind of have to face check literally everywhere they go. But with 3 inhibs down, it's so difficult to defend this Ocean Drake. Dig might try a bit of a desperation, but with where they're currently set up, probably not.
That's right. It's like when you have 3 inhibs down, leaving your base isn't really on the agenda, especially then when you can't even find a place to put down vision. The only wards that are really surviving are the ones just outside the base on that wall. possible initiation spots for the side of Dignitas, and FlyQuest has to be a little bit more careful to clear them. Ocean Drake coming in, like you said, Jack, possibly the nail in the coffin, and just look at how this game works all around. The triple kill for IgNar in the start. Oh my word, Froggen so quick before he could even Zanya is down to half HP and almost taken down by super minions here as he slows him with a minefield.
70% of his health was Qiyana EQ. He stopwatched the second Q and flashed the ult. It's kind of absurd that Froggen is alive right now because he dodged two of the most crucial abilities from Qiyana. Well played by Froggen, actually, to live through that.
That's the whole point of Froggen. You just keep alive, right? You keep jumping, keep
Yeah.
living. Don't get hit by the truck. Don't get hit by the car. Don't fall in the water. And right now, he's able to do that with the satchel and flash. Kept himself up. Barrier still there for some possible play beyond that with Zanya's on cooldown. Kind of every way they have to work around FlyQuest is just getting dwindled away, and FlyQuest can keep coming back that much faster to fight again. 15-5 here as Baron's going to go over to FlyQuest ever so slowly. Just kind of scratches the objective to take it down.
One day, Turtle will have 100 souls. It'll be soon. He has 97. He'll get 2 souls off the Baron, and then he'll hit his 100 soul.
Great boss down.
Yeah. One more soul and Turtle will have 125 additional range. Currently only 100 additional range from the soul stacking.
Whose soul will he take?
Probably like a ranged minion.
Poor range minion. If only he knew how much power he was giving them.
Just go grab it.
Oh, there they are.
Go grab it.
Huh! Oh, it's so... Look
gonna
at him.
die.
He's thinking.
He's not gonna pick it up. Oh.
Pew!
Just get it, Turtle.
Literally. Good clears coming in from Dig. They're on the tightrope on this one, though. FlyQuest just figuring out how to cut that line at this point. Ocean Drake up. They can take an erroneous fight. Still feel good.
Yeah.
Walk out of the base for a second. Come back to fight Dignitas again a little bit later. Viper pushing in top by himself to now join the rest of the team. Crescendum and Calibrium up. Not the greatest clears here for Johnsun, but he can still get the work done with those guns in hand. Man, this is just a battle here. Finally, a bit of an initiation. That's just going to be for the inhib. Pulling onto Huni. A bit of a fight from Grig as he flag and drags in, but it's instantly deleted as a pretty squishy Jarvan. Viper's fighting 2 on the Nexus turrets, takes a third to exit himself out of that ring and keep the fight going. A nice tag in by IgNar's hook there as they keep aphromoo in a spot for death. But they want the inhibitor turrets. The minions are now following them through with this Baron. And it looks like they may be able to seal the deal finally. Whoa, Santorin flies in with the Zanya Zan. He's going to be going down under the turret as they just throw themselves into the fire, knowing the Nexus should follow along with them. FlyQuest is going to move it to 8-4 on the Spring Split.
Another solid win by FlyQuest. In this one, you can see a little bit of exasperation on PoE's face because they had such a big early lead, and there were actually moments in that game where Dig was almost able to mount a comeback. But looking back at the game, 17 kills to 6, Dragon Soul in hand, multiple Barons.
Yep.
FlyQuest should feel okay about this 1-1 week with a loss to C9 and a win over Dignitas.
And what a turnaround. Do you expect an AP Nautilus to start hitting the lane? Because that starts to hurt. Like you said, the early game damage and then kind of amplified. Usually you just get support items, but awesome stuff to see. And you know, everybody always kind of builds up IgNar, so it's awesome to see him have a good game.
IgNar is having an incredibly strong split. The FlyQuest from last year, replacing mid and support and bringing in PoE and IgNar, they must be thrilled with what they've done in the offseason because 8-4 is a great start.
Gotta believe it. So when we return, Mark rates Dig's tower dive from that game and relish in the power of Evil's growth this split.
Tell me where do I go? Tell me where do I take us? Your heart is starting to slow. May the water be safe.
Welcome back to the State Farm Analyst Desk. Earlier, I was looking at hot and cold dives from Dignitas, and we got another one. Bit of deja vu on the Dignitas dive. Let's pull it up. It's again against a Sett. Here we go. Let's see if it goes any better. It's another 4-man dive. Starts out with Grig, locks him up. That's pretty good. Oh no, Huni pulled him in the death round. Johnsun can't hit him now. Huni's ulted back under a turret, and the rest of FlyQuest is starting to arrive while they're losing turrets. Oh no, it's stalling out. But there's 5 men here, right? They're gonna get him. They're gonna get him, right? Oh, Senna ult. Okay, they got him. So it's an improvement even though they're losing their turrets. So I'll give that one a +1. It's no longer a -1. It's a little bit better, a little bit hotter, but still not great.
That's a 2-point swing.
It's better.
That's a 2-point
no longer
swing, man.
negative.
Hey, we're moving in the right
They got something
direction.
positive out of it. They got a kill.
They did get something positive out of it. Unfortunately, the other team got a few positive things out of it as well.
A few more positive.
2 turrets on the bottom side, an Ocean Drake picked up by the Gragas solo, and then the response in the top lane was another tier 1 turret going down. So it was 1 kill traded for 3 turrets and a dragon.
On top of the experience and gold that was shared from all 5 players being in one lane.
We'll go with cold.
So
Cold Dignitas.
It was another version of Cold Dignitas, and it's not necessarily to pile on because, again, I like the aggressive look. I like that Dignitas is looking for these plays, but they are not bringing these ideas together cohesively or properly.
If you're ever in the man advantage on Mordekaiser and you're diving a guy, don't ult him.
Right.
You just stop your team from killing him. You make it a 1v1 from a 5v1.
All right,
And
I agree, 100%. Let's roll it back because it was a FlyQuest victory, hot off of a loss yesterday from Cloud9, and this one did look strong for FlyQuest. But before we get into the game itself, I want to talk draft. We had Ziggs, who has begun to pop up from time to time across different regions here in the mid lane, up against the Qiyana of all things, played by our player of the week, PowerOfEvil.
Yeah, that was really impressive out of PoE. The man is now playing, seems like whatever he wants. I think last year he was largely framed as the Orianna player, mostly
control mate.
Yeah, late game, Corki, Azir, and now he's just completely different. You know, Rumble, Qiyana. This is a player that I think is just amazing right now. He's clearly running the top of the gauntlet for a best mid laner. He has the highest damage for mid laners.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too is, you know, we're talking about the champ pool changes. It's also his playstyle. He's no longer sit back in lane. In that Drake fight that was initially what broke the game open for FlyQuest, he was the one going in solo and chasing through that entire fight. It was super, super impressive.
Yeah, that was a big fight for them. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. You mentioned the champion pool. 8 unique champions across the split so far. 7 of those champions he's played 1 game on each. It would be 5 games on the Zoe, which is what brings us to that 12. But again, a slew of champions ranging from Rumbles to Qiyana's, Zoe's a little bit more standard, Azir's.
The styles too, because he rushed the Moby boots, right? He's playing Qiyana exactly how you want your Qiyana to play, just all about the map play, not
Umbral
just
Glaive.
farm, right? Not I'm rushing Tiamat and going for it. And the Umbral Glaive and from both Qiyana and the AD Senna turned out to be a huge factor. Over 200 vision scores.
We did mid lane tier list. I asked you guys what your metrics were, and we talked about the evolution of the role, how it's so much less about your lane itself and about how you affect the map. And everything PowerOfEvil did today was playing into those metrics. It speaks to the fact that both of you had him number 2 on your list. And to be able to point to a 6-minute replay and say this was the game-breaking moment, and it was all because of this man on Qiyana, that's a pretty powerful moment.
The thing, he gets baited a little bit by the Tahm Kench eating the Ziggs, but it shows that he understands the champion where he doesn't have this moment of awkward hesitation. The ult's going to get dodged out there, but he just goes, okay, well, I'm going to get out of here and go into my next target, the J4, and I'm going to start harassing him. All right, I'll get that kill, and then he's going to find his way back into the pit, and now the rest of his team is collapsing.
And look at how good this synergy was. Viper TP'd way earlier than Huni, so he makes it to the fight. By the time Huni teleports, Viper's already used his ultimate and is setting up for a haymaker.
You have no idea how much I love to see this too. Coming off of WildTurtle's comments yesterday saying we played too scared against Cloud9. We need to be faster. We need to take those fights confidently. That's the kind of fight I want to see replayed now, like against Cloud9, and see if FlyQuest comes out on top.
You know, it's a meme, but playing with nameplates off. Sometimes you get in your own head thinking, oh, it's Cloud9, they're 10-0, like, it's them.
Right.
You don't make the play because you think they're going to stifle it versus, oh, it's Dig, they're 5-5, like, we can do this. So that confidence of just ignoring the kind of player or team you're up against and just doing the play tends to get you these results.
And this is the kind of stuff when you start seeing this, where you are confident saying FlyQuest is the #2 team in the North American LCS right now. Until Team Liquid actually rips that title from their hands, I think it is FlyQuest, even potentially going all the way into playoffs, that should be expected to be the #2 seed.
So maybe we're finally starting to solidify the picture at the top of the table, at least maybe slotting in a #2 behind Cloud9, who's been quite obviously #1 up to this point. We are going to step away, but when we return, Counterlogic Gaming and TSM face off. So don't go anywhere.
PowerOfEvil is going to make it a little lopsided, but they have IgNar soloed out. He goes down to a Gravitum lockdown, and that is so far the 2-for-1 in favor of FlyQuest as they start to come back here. 6.5 minutes in, a double kill coming in.
Flash? Okay. We got anything else or no? Yeah, they're low over here. Gragas no flash. Let's go. Gragas no flash. Yeah, I'm going to chase here, okay?
Chicks. Nice. Tahm. I got Mordekaiser. Nice.
You're beast. Good job.
Kill him.
You're fake.
Nice.
Okay,
I back time.
Just end. That is my bad.
Nice.
Both too deep.
Nice. I back time!
Every click,
Every frame.
Every press.
every sound.
They're playing aggressive.
I'll take mid. Every advantage.
When the difference
Between winning and losing,
is measured in milliseconds.
everything.
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 Everything counts.
The Alienware Legendary Battle Station.